All right, welcome back. So today we're going to be installing a drive shaft into my 130 mile an hour limitless. This is my test limitless. Anything I do before I do to the one that's up there, which you guys can probably barely see. That one's getting some fans mounted onto it. They're drying right now. Stay tuned for that video. But this limitless and the twin motor in fraction are both going to get this drive shaft. So not only do I need to use this drive shaft, I need to use Arrma's shorter drive shaft. So these are sold separately. This is from a guy I recently found out who does flowpacks. So I actually found these up on eBay, and I didn't actually find them. A buddy of mine found them. So I'm going to show you guys the original listing in case you're looking for it, because I don't see a part number to it and there's no part number of it. So if you want, you can freeze it here. This is the listing on eBay. Hopefully that focus is good enough. But if you guys know who flowpacks, who that is, hit him up on YouTube. Tell him you saw the video here. He's the one that actually sells these things. So once you purchase these things, he gives you the part number to this. It's in his ad that way. So I'm not going to give a part number. This is a factory part. As you see, there is no part numbers on this. So he'll give you the part number when you order this. Now I ordered 2 of them because I'm going to try one in this and I'm going to try one in the twin motor. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what you get. So this is a carbon fiber extension basically. So what's going to happen is you're also going to need a 34 tooth pinion so that you can put it in between here, because this is going to sit in between there. Your pinion's going to go in between here. This is going to extend to the rear, and then this shorter drive shaft is going to complete it off. Now this is supposed to get rid of this flex, and what I mean by flex, as you see right here, you see this discoloration in this drive shaft right here. This is a factory rear drive shaft for the limitless and the infraction. And what ends up happening is these things aren't bent. When you pull them out, they're not bent. But what's going on during acceleration, this thing gets a wobble to it and it bows. And it bows right at the point where it hits the rear support brace. And then you'll hear a fluttering like a flat tire is what it sounds like. So it literally starts to hit this rear brace right here. Now I have stronger braces to put into these, but because this is my test limitless, I leave this as stock as possible, as simple as possible. But I've noticed after the 130 mile an hour run I did with this car, every time I get onto the trigger, I'm hearing that fluttering now, and the car's losing speed, and it's because of this drive shaft. And you'll see it on one side. You'll see some marks. This one was going for a long time. It was hitting a lot. As you see, the other side is not discolored, but you'll see the side that is actually hitting, and it'll hit in 2 spots because that's the way the rear brace is designed. So, and when you roll them, they are perfectly flat. You take them back out and they are flat. So it's getting a wobble in this rear drive shaft. So on most of mine, I change out these rear pins because these pins do wear, and I have a kit and I've showed how to do that already. This car, I haven't done anything to it. So I'm going to start with this car because, like I said, this is my test one. If it goes well on this, I will be putting a drive shaft like this into that infraction as well, the twin motor, because that one has definitely got some flex going on. I could hear it in the last video I did, and yeah, it's not good. So we got to get rid of that flex, and we got to get this this thing to stop flexing so bad and slowing the car down, because eventually that will break. So you guys will be doing this along with me. I haven't done one yet. This will be my first one. We did do it to the Limit Do already, which is the Coke can motor limitless that I put together for a buddy of mine. He's the one that actually found this drive shaft, and since it is on eBay, I purchased it. I do know there are drive shafts out there you can buy off Facebook Marketplace, all that stuff. I don't do Facebook. It's nothing against Facebook itself, but I have an issue with Facebook and people finding you. So here we go. I'm going to move the upper support brace. I'm going to get my wires out of the way right here. We are going to take off the top part of this motor plate. This should have the factory 34mm spool, and the gear that's in here has a hole that goes through the shaft and a pin goes through it. So that comes off, and then we're going to lift out the spool. We're going to take out this long drive shaft, and as you see, I'm starting to get, there it is. There's that wobble mark. So that's what I was expecting to see. As you see, it's all nice and dark, except when you get to the side that actually gets the wobble in it, and this starts hitting the brace. And you start hearing the noise. It literally sounds like a fluttering tire is what it sounds like. Because right before a tire blows, it does the same thing. So as you see, this is so long, and these bones are clocked 90 degrees from each other. So these are factory limitless rear drive shafts. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull out this pin if it's not too tight. Now I believe you can use this gear if you put a normal set screw in this. So these usually come off pretty easy, these pins, which this won't go. This pin doesn't go through his extended drive shaft. My buddy's been using this drive shaft for about a week now with no issues. So apparently it is getting rid of the flex. So that's what we're looking for. So I want to give it a shot myself, because when something works, it just works. And if this works and this holds it, I'm hoping that by shortening this up, the twin motor will get that flex out of it, and hopefully it doesn't shatter the carbon fiber. As you see, this is a pin. So that pin doesn't go through his setup. And he lists there that that you're going to need a 34 tooth pinion. And this one was loose, surprisingly. Spacer, that, and then as you see, the gear comes off. Now I'm going to try to use this gear and put a set screw in it. Hopefully I have a set screw for it. Only, it looks like maybe both sides are threaded. I thought only one side was threaded. But both sides are actually threaded on this piece. And as you see, I'm just cleaning out the old Loctite. So from my understanding, as slide this off. So it looks like there's a rubber O-ring in here, so I'm going to slide off this O-ring. So it's going to be cup, O-ring, bearing. Well, something I don't like already is, you see this spacer? It's touching right here and it's open right here, which means it wasn't cut flat. I don't think it'll matter because I think it's just aligning this gear. So bearing, that was the O-ring. And then this piece, I believe. So I'm going to leave that off and see if this is the right distance away. And it is not. Well, it is, but it's literally forcing the back mount back. So I'm wondering, let me take this apart again. Just as you see, I'm taking it flat, trying to take a little off of it. Now, they should have been chalked up into a limitless before it was sent out to me, but it's all good. There we go. Look at how that's a much better fit right there. I still got to put Loctite in this stuff. Yeah, see? It was a little back. Let me give that a shot. See? It's still touching a hair. Getting a little touch right there. So, right here where this diff cup is, it's literally barely touching that edge. So by pushing down on these bearings, it's literally hitting right here, and you're hearing the high-low spots. See that? And this is all factory limitless. This hasn't been apart yet. Let's try it a different way. I'm going to push this down in here because that's a good fit now. I'm going to try just putting on the center cap. See? So it's literally hitting right here. So now I can trim that. Turn off this light now. Now I can shave this a little bit, but what I'm going to do is I literally have the aluminum ones, and maybe, just maybe, it's a little thinner right there. So I'm going to pop on aluminum right here, and I'll be right back with you guys. We'll be right back. All I'm going to do is change out this piece. There's no sense you guys watching me do that. Be right back. All right, back again. Went ahead and got the aluminum piece put into there. And now it is not touching. It is not touching that back brace. And it's nice and smooth. No binding. So we've actually got a lot of distance in between there now compared to this one. It actually was catching that corner right there and left some marks in it. Don't know why. It could just be manufacturer's flex. I don't know, but putting the aluminum, I know the aluminums are a lot skinnier because they're stronger, they're not as thick. which gives you room for your drive shaft here as well. So I just swapped that piece out, plastic, for an aluminum piece. I do have the motor out now. Maybe I should do the front one, but right now I want to get this thing together. So the next thing I'm going to try to do is put, now that I know that that's the right space, I am going to get this locked on and see if that's rubbing the motor mount. Now I'm doing all this without the drive shafts in. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's rubbing. Man, really? Yep. So that front cup is rubbing the drive shaft as well. Wow. It's like barely rubbing that engine mount too. So right in here, the diff cup is literally hitting the motor mount right here. I've already ground some off, but I got to grind it higher. And on this side, I did grind, as you see. Let me see if I can get this. Right in here, you'll see it's silver, because I already ground that side. And this side, I already ground it too. I just need to take more off. Seems like every time I'm making a change, and I don't have much to come out, you know what I mean? I can't bring the diff cup far enough out to clear that. It's gonna get loud. Give that a shot. It's a lot better, but I still got a spot that it's hitting. All my motor and everything is just laying in here, dragging. It's got just that little dead spot now. All right, guys. Well, I went ahead and took this part probably, I want to say, 10 times. So I finally got it working. Ended up having to change this rear mount because the plastic one was flexing. So once I got the metal one in there, I was able to shave the spacers and get it to stay straight. So when I put it down, it's not flexing at the base. As you guys saw from the last one, up in here the diff cup was rubbing the motor mount. So a lot of dremeling and sanding and test fitting, and got that right. So this carbon fiber, this is a spacer over a steel sleeve. So there's one here, then on the other side of the bearing there's another small one. Well, I can show you here. on the other motor mount. So basically there's this long spacer, there's one there, and there's this really small one right there. That one I ended up having to sand several times to get the spacing between these two bearings to where it wasn't tight fitting down, because it was actually spreading the motor mount apart every time I would put the top cap on. So I ended up just having to sand this a few times to get this to fit correct. And then this piece here, the front diff cup, this was actually rubbing the stock motor mount. This is a lot fatter than the factory one. The factory one, as you see, doesn't have that step up right there. These are actually flat, and these shafts are a lot thinner. This shaft's a lot thicker, and so is that diff cup. But by it being that thick, it was rubbing the motor mount, so I had to do some dremeling on that mount. But in the end, I went ahead and got it on, and as you can see, it looks like the drive shaft goes pretty much straight, and then at that point right there, the drive shaft takes a slight angle down to the rear. At least that's the appearance of it. I don't know if it is or isn't, so we're gonna give this thing a test run and see how that drive shaft works. But it's not just a drop-in little kit. From my experience, the Limit Do, the big 2028 that I put in the Limitless, because I flipped that motor around, that one had a lot of modifications to get that one to work as well. So I figured I wanted to try on a stock Limitless, which this one was pretty much all stock. I ended up having to change, like I said, the rear motor mount to an aluminum piece. I had to change this to an aluminum piece to get it to stop rubbing right there. And then I changed out the front just because I had it. It's not something I had to do, but it gave me more clearance in between the drive shaft and the plastic, because you can see how tight it is down in there. So by putting the aluminum one on, it gave me a little bit more clearance. And same thing, as you can see with that drive shaft, with this on this diff cup, I got a little bit of clearance now, and with the other one, it was rubbing. So there we go, guys. I'm gonna give this thing a rip. I got that drive shaft in. The total project took me 4 hours, believe it or not. So I have about 2.5 hours of footage. I'm gonna edit it down and get it somewhere around 25 minutes. So I'll cut a lot of it out, but that's the gist of it on getting this installed. There we go, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on my next video.